Oh, okay.
She's driving back from Huntsville. And waiting for us all to go to live here. Should be. Are we live? Yeah, we're
Sure.
live. Yep, we're
Yep, you're
live.
live.
We are. I hit there. We go there. Go back up here. And there we are, right? Ta-da. There we go. Okay, now we're ready to rock and play here, everybody. Good evening. And there we are. And we'll look for others to come on. And so, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now Sunday night, and we are going to talk about caregivers and metabolic health and all things to go inside of there. So, I have the wonderful, beautiful, exciting Jen Rellis,
Hello.
who is with us, and we have our special guest. Whoops, we have our special guest. Where'd you go? Oh my goodness gracious! What happened here? I don't know what that is. What's this? I don't know what that is. Oh my goodness, we got all kinds of wonky things going on here. I touched my computer. My fat fingers made all kinds of things go. And now, so well, it is. It's just how it goes. So we talk about all things caregiving, metabolic, related to certainly mental, with Alzheimer's. We talk about caregiving. We talk about being a caregiver and what we need as caregivers. We talk about different kinds of things that matter in that space. So if you have any questions, please feel free to press them out to us in the chat, and we'll look to get those answered. And we should have some other people coming in and joining us. We don't ever know. But before we started tonight, these two girls are yakking, and one was doing her nails, and Jennifer's sporting her hair because one of the things that happens with the protocol is that we get more hair, don't we?
Oh, we do. Oh, do we ever?
It grows longer, faster, and stronger.
Yeah.
I experienced that, and I was telling everybody, all of our friends, and they're all, they all sport the motorcycle helmet heads, and kind of shiny and no hair. And there she is. Look at her. She's going to try to smile again. I know she is. I can see her moving. Kaya, where are you? Can you smile? There, almost see you. One finger in the air. I saw one finger.
Yep.
Yep. Now she's thinking. Well, maybe not. Anyway, can you hear us? You can hear us, right? Almost. Can you speak? Nope, mic's off. Okay. Gosh, that was close. She was on audio only. Okay, very good. So, and we're going to talk about caregivers. And so everybody asks about how's mom doing. Now, Kaya is a mom. And that's one of the things she's with us for, because she's a mom. And boy, is she a mom. She is a mom of 3 at one time. Isn't the body amazing? It can heal itself, right? But just think, one cell from mom, one cell from dad, and now we got 3 complete running around, chaotic, calm, peaceful, beautiful, right? Yeah, all day long.
All day.
All day. So we're talking about caregiving in a lot of different facets, but nobody asks about, and I can attest, nobody asks about dad. They may ask about dad. How's mom? How's dad? Right? But they never ask about you, right? I mean, so how are you doing? No, how are the kids? How is mom? How's dad? In case of husband or sister or someone we're taking care of, how are they? But nobody ever comes to you, do they? And so that's what we're going to talk a little about today, because the caregiver becomes the invisible patient. The invisible patient. And Back when I was in the financial services industry and doing working a lot of retirement and that type of thing, especially retiring people, my genre was working with people that were 55 or that were retired or going to retire. One of the things that always came up was the question of what are you going to do when, if, and the unlikely event you can't take care of yourself. What's the plan?
Hmm.
And of course, everybody's they're going to live forever. Oh, I won't die. Blah blah. The bravado comes out, but when the real question hits, no one's really ready for the answer, are they?
Hmm.
I mean, they just aren't. And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about. And one of the things I proposed, and I did decades ago, was, and I verified this with a lot of other people that work in facilities, is that the people that get the most care, that get the best care, are the people that have the most visitors.
Hmm.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah.
Now, they will never, the facilities will never say, oh, no, everybody gets the same. No,
Right.
I just, back of my head, I go, like, you know what? If someone's always coming around,
Hmm.
if they know someone's going to be there, as opposed to someone that hasn't seen hide or hair of support in a year, 6 years, a few months, maybe the drop by, here's Christmas, have a nice day, I'm out of here. Or, hey, it's Christmas, thanks for the check, I'm out of here. I mean, the taker instead of the giver, even. And even I'll bet that, you know, okay, yeah, even as a mom, it's a new mom, you got a lot of attention to start, but it kind of goes away.
Definitely, definitely. It's fizzled out a bit. We have a great village behind her, with to help us, but it slowed down a bit.
It slows down a bit.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, when you started, Jennifer, tell us, how did you start being a caregiver?
It took me 1 week of a visit from being out of state to see the state of my parents' home, how they functioned, and how just in that week that I was visiting, there was a lot of forgetfulness, a lot of unknown, a lot of talking in circles, and I knew something had to change.
Okay. And the longer you're around, guys, the longer, Kia, the longer that someone is around you to help you, or the longer you're around that situation, you begin to see patterns that someone that just dropped in and pats on the head and they're gone. Oh, they're so cute, and they're out of here, right?
Mhm.
If but people, once you start seeing the patterns, isn't that something? Would you agree with that? When you start seeing the patterns of your sister?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. As the disease progresses, or whatever you're doing progresses, people will be there and they say, anything you need, but no, that's not, you know, everybody says that. I've said it too, but yeah, especially if people don't understand what's going on, basically.
And so, yeah, you become the invisible patient to some degree, right? The stress, the ongoing moment to moment, because you don't get just to run away. It's not like you're there for a temporary visit. It's like being a grandpa. I mean, I can be a great grandpa. I'm out of here in an hour, 2 hours. Cool, right? I got you for 3 or 4 days. The rules change, right?
Right.
So yeah, and so the one thing was to start going through that. Jennifer, when did caregiving? Once you started to do caregiving, when did that start to change you? I'm gonna turn off this.
Oh gosh, it started to change me day one. I it was it's just like when you have children. You go from your normal to something completely different. It's almost a shock to the system. um, everything you thought you knew about your day to day, because everybody creates their own schedules, their own routines.
Right.
And then you move into a caregiving situation, whether it be as a parent or as a child for a parent or another loved one or a friend. The whole dynamic of your life changes, your whole routine changes because you're there to provide care,
Right.
not to just sit back and just, I'm doing my life. And, I mean, it's like a complete 360, and you were here and now you're over here and you're trying to find your way. And for me, there was a lot of stumbles with the parenting part and with the caregiving of adult parents.
And Kaya, yeah, you've been your mom. You had one child.
Yeah.
And that was like, okay, cool. I'm a parent. Yeah, I go cool. Okay. And then you got 3 at one time.
Yeah.
How did that change your whole? Well, tell me about it. Just, I can't imagine it.
Oh man, just chaos from the beginning. I mean, just everything, for growing rapidly from the time that we found out we were having kids, we are having triplets. It was a go to just like, being in the NICU. It's all just, I don't even remember it. I don't remember when they were babies. I don't remember. It just all went by so fast. And your life just gets centered around these little guys. That's it. That's everything. Everything you do, everything you eat, every choice that you make every single day affects the whole family. So, I mean, there was a while I just was like, my life is no longer mine until these kids are all 18 and out. And that's just the way that it is. But I quickly realized that that's not the case. I have to take time for myself. I have to take care of myself. And that's when I feel like we all grew and are feeling a lot better, doing better.
That's good. Okay, go super. Now, what kept you going? What kept you going, Jennifer?
I would say the reminder every day that both my parents have cognitive decline, and I did not want to see them in a nursing facility the way my grandmother was, or my uncle for that matter.
Sure. Okay. And Kia, you couldn't really escape physically, but what kept you going? Okay, you're a mom and you got, but what outside, what kept you going? What part of where did the juice come from?
I think one of the biggest things that the biggest thing about being a mom and that keeps me going and doing my best is just the responsibility that I have to raise good human beings, that know how to deal with society, how to be respectful, how to be successful in their own route, right? So it's important to me to continue to, yeah, I can maybe just feed them junk food all day, or yeah, maybe I could just put them in front of the TV all day, and I do some days, but I strive to do the best that I can because it's just my responsibility to be able to help them provide to be successful when I'm not around.
Okay. Sure. When you found out about Sharon, what stress, what was your mindset? How much stress did you go into? What was that?
The main stress was I knew what happens in the disease of Alzheimer's. And I started the grieving process. Because I knew she was going to die eventually. When the day she was diagnosed, and I asked the doctor when she and her husband, or when her husband was there with us, and I said to the doctor, "Can we go in the other room? Because there's questions I wanted to ask him." And I knew I didn't want Sharon there to hear what I was going to ask. And so I said to him, I said, what are we looking at? Now, mind you, she was 54 years old when she was diagnosed. And he said she could be in a nursing home in 4 years. And that just blew my mind. I thought, no way. But her husband took very good care of her. He was the main caregiver, and she would stay with me when he was out of town. But the thing of it is just like she was in a nursing home in 5 years, but her husband took very good care of her. But then she would have violent outbursts. And mind you, her husband was a big guy. And she jumped on his back one day in the walk-in closet, and she knocked him down. They broke the bottom shelf of the closet. But things like that. But when we went back into the room after, I kind of got off on a tangent there, but when we went back in the room after I talked to the doctor, I just remember how beautiful she looked that day. She had black slacks on. She had a coral sweater, and she looked so beautiful. And she's looking in a magazine, and my first thought that went through my mind was, how can you be so calm? You've just been given a death sentence. But I didn't realize she did not know that. Because on the way home from Mayo Clinic, she and I were sitting in the back seat, and I'm looking out the window, trying not to cry because I did not want her to see me upset. And she grabbed my hand and she said, well, at least I'm not dying. And I thought, you really don't know. But
So you started grieving right then, didn't you?
I did. And I tried not to let her see me when I was upset. She would come to my house and spend a couple nights about every other week, or sometimes every week. And we had a business, and I actually walked away from the business through some of this just to help with her. And I think being involved with the Alzheimer's Association really helped because I had some support there. We were going cold turkey with this because, that was the last thing we expected. And especially for such a young person. And, when I think today, my daughter is that age. My daughter is that age now. And that scares me. It really scares me to have. I hope nobody in my family ever gets it. It's just a horrible, horrible disease, and she was so vibrant, and she could put her makeup on and she could do all this stuff, and it got so she couldn't do anything. We had to cut her hair really, really short because, we couldn't be there every day to do it when she was in the nursing home. But her husband even would curl her hair and put makeup on her to even go to Walmart because he knew that she liked looking nice. And he did a pretty good job, except this is a funny part. He's colorblind. So one day, their daughter walked in, and my sister is sitting at the counter, and she says, Dad, what'd you do to Mom? Why? Her eyebrows are red. She put lipstick liner on her eyebrows. So that was one funny thing. I didn't see that, but yeah, but he really tried.
Yeah, good, really good. And so Did you ever have brain fog at all? Did this ever
Oh,
do that
yeah.
to you?
There was a couple times there that I'd be driving somewhere and I think, where am I going? And you know, I with twins, they think so much alike. They're just intertwined like you can't imagine. And George and I were just talking the other night and talking about the neighbor. He was talking about his neighbor kids and stuff. And I said, you know what? I said, Sharon and I always had each other.
Mm-hmm.
So from day one, we didn't feel the need to go play with neighbor kids or whatever, because it was like we were one person.
Yeah.
Wow.
And even, you know, after she died, it was like, it was a loss that I told everybody, I said, I lost half of my whole.
Mm-hmm.
And that is very true because, you know, we were just so close and we were together a lot, and we didn't make other friendships, you know, as far as like in school and stuff, because we didn't feel the need.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's awesome. Wow. That is
I love that photo.
We had that a bunch of pictures taken. She was diagnosed in January. We had a bunch of pictures taken that spring. I'm so glad we have them. But you know, when the photographer called us in to look at all these pictures, she and I just sat on the couch holding hands and we were crying. Crying. It was so emotional. But I'm so glad we did it.
Now, you guys had brain fog too?
Oh,
Mom, neither one of you. Both. You look at this like, on cue. Yes.
Well, and the one thing, when every time that you ask, have we had brain fog, it actually is astonishing to me because we have 4 different ages. We've all suffered brain fog.
Right.
And I mean, mine was so bad, I was putting my 80-year-old parents' appointments on the wrong weeks, on the wrong days. I like George, I have forgotten my keys. I've been like Cheryl, I have forgotten where am I going.
Okay.
You know, I'd make a list so I wouldn't forget, and then I didn't know where I put my list.
familiar.
Both hands.
You know, things that I thought, I truly thought, oh gosh, you know, it's just because I'm getting older. Everybody goes through this.
Kia, what about you? Brain fog?
Oh yeah, I mean, my brain fog used to be so bad that I would tell my mom all the time, you know, I think I need to get my brain checked. Like, I think I should start getting scans. It was scaring me. I used to jot down notes all the time and say, I'm going to write it down just in case I don't remember this moment, you know, just in a couple years. It was actually very scary. I used to play a lot of mind games, like that tried to build your remembering things, you know, those kind of things that you download or whatnot. But it was actually really scary for me. And there was a time that I felt like I should just not have conversations anymore because I couldn't put sentences together. So it was frustrating for me, and I could only imagine for the people who I was speaking to, because it was like my mind would just trail off. I would just forget. I couldn't remember easy words. So I feel a lot better. It's gotten a lot better. And I didn't realize how bad it was until, you know, it was gone.
Yeah, I used to try to play those games, or the ones that have math, that had numbers, and I quit playing them because I said I don't like math. That was my excuse. That was my out. And then it became, oh, I have to read? No, this is an out. No, this is, I'm out, you know. But exactly, I mean, you start going along and then you have this, like someone hit a pause button. And I don't know about you, but I never know how long that pause is.
Mhm.
We think everybody notices it, and maybe they do. I don't know. But boy, inside the head, it gets awfully quiet going down a tunnel that is there a light switch? Is there can I change the subject? Does the channel go? Does like somebody else talk? But maybe it's not that long. Anybody know? You know, I don't know.
I think it depends on the situation. I mean,
I do
I've seen
too.
it with my parents.
Uh-huh.
Mom's recall became so you'd ask a question and she'd pause.
Oh,
I
yeah.
just paused. I paused.
Right.
It was a long pause. And I'm like, Mom, did you hear me? Well, yes, I'm thinking.
Oh,
Okay, we're
right.
still in it.
Yeah.
Because, and she's trying to recall. And
Right.
even the neurologist said, it's in there. She knows how to answer,
Right.
but she's got to go through all, I call it the card catalog.
I know what those
She's
are.
got to thumb through her card
Trust me.
catalog.
I know the Dewey Decimal System and the card
And
catalog.
find the card to pull out and say,
Absolutely.
okay, this is
absolutely.
the information.
Right.
Now, the information that was delivered was correct, but we're waiting as she's going through this huge Dewey Decimal System of finding the card.
Also, like the 4 days later, the answer comes.
Yes. Gosh, I thought that was just me. Oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me.
Yeah, and it does.
In the middle of the night, 3 days later.
Like, oh, I know that. And then you have to rephrase it. Remember when we were talking about? I know what it is, right? It's like I get caught doing that sometimes too. But then again, the most random things just jump out because having been around for 7 decades, I've got literally a library, and I will come up with things, right? She goes like, "What are you talking about?" But it really does. So let me ask you this: so with brain fog and with starting to do good caregiving, what really helped you become comfortable with caregiving? Because it doesn't really. I mean, you were a young mom. You can talk about being a mom, or you're dealing with your sister and or your husband and or mom or dad. What helped you mentally work with all this? Because there's a lot of stresses. I mean, identical twin sister, mom, dad, brother, husband. I mean, what is your stress cope mechanism? What has helped?
Actually, getting involved with the local Alzheimer's Association, which I don't even know if they have anymore, because we got outside help from them and then the national. In fact, her daughter and I both got very involved with it. And we did the walks, but we just got more information that I didn't have before. And because we were twins, and it just seemed like it was something strange that she got it and I was okay, that there was a lot of interest, outside interest, from the Alzheimer's Association, wrote articles about us, and we were in pamphlets that they made, and they asked me to go to Washington, D.C. This was the spring after she was diagnosed. So she went with me. She was pretty good at that point. She still needed help with picking out her outfits, but she had gained a lot of weight. Not a lot at that point, but she gained weight and a lot of her clothes wouldn't fit her. So her husband asked me if I would take her shopping and get her some nice things, which I did. And I know it made her feel good about herself because she knew she looked nice. And I gave a speech at the National Alzheimer's Convention. And I hated speech class in high school because I was very, very quiet. I know. You don't believe that. My kids don't believe it. I don't.
Cheryl, you're quiet?
I came out of my shell. Anyway, I hated speech class because I didn't want to get up in front of anybody. But when I sat down and wrote that speech, I just kept writing, and it just, someone was looking over me to give me the words. And I got up there. I looked out there was like 300 some people there. I looked out and you know what? I wasn't even scared. I was not nervous. Sharon was sitting beside me in a chair and it just flowed. It just flowed. Because I don't think I could do it again. But, it was something that was in here. So.
And that helped.
Yeah, it just being involved because I met a lot of people. Some were in the early stages of Alzheimer's, like she was. And there was a lady that we met. She was from Peoria. And we met her there. And then we went down to Peoria to a function there and we saw her there. But I think her diagnosis was wrong because she's still alive. She's functioning. So I don't know what that was all about, but I get Christmas cards from her every year. I see her on Facebook and she's functioning, and she's doing things and I can't believe she ever had Alzheimer's. I don't know if someone just misdiagnosed her or what, but she wouldn't be alive this long because my sister's been gone 19 years. And this was probably 23, 24 years ago.
Yeah.
So something, misdiagnosis or something, but yeah.
So let me ask this for Jennifer. What have you changed to come out of where you were mentally, physically? What's emotionally? How have you transitioned to where you were when you first started to where you are now?
Well, there's not one thing.
Oh, I didn't expect there to be.
Definitely is not one thing. One was I needed to find a way to have some type of system. There was a lot of medication on my mom's side, a lot of eye drops on my mom's side. I had to make schedules so I could keep track, so I could start a routine, so I could wake up and just start the routine. This also included taking time to do her hair, to do her makeup, and then I had my father who also had medications, and then it's becoming proactive in all the notifications come to me, looking at the groceries, really putting systems into place. I do have some tools, a natural 3-step reset that I use that helped clear my brain fog, which made it 1,000 times easier under the stress and the difficulty. And then also meeting fine people like all of you who supported me no matter what, supported me through, you saw me last week. I was crying on here. What was the hardest thing about caregiving? The abrupt stop. But as you can see, it was a healing moment, and having friends that know when it's time for me to share that information before I think it's time has an amazing way of healing the soul. Thank you, George and Cheryl.
Thank you very much. So, did you have to make a huge mental shift going from one to now 4, or from 1 to 3, or however you view that. And going backwards, what prepared you? Were you in your family? Were you an oldest, youngest baby? Are you part of a big pod? Are you a string bean? Where do you, what how where does your skill sets come from?
Oh boy, I'm second youngest of 8, so I've been the spoiled one and still kind of am. So it's, I mean, I guess it has been pretty easy. I have so much support, and I'm very close to my sisters and my mom, and so we are a very close family. And so everyone is like all hands on deck always. And so yeah, I'm the second youngest, quite spoiled. But the mental shift, again, just having the patience, just having the patience, and to know that it's okay, being okay with stepping away. My husband does a great job at letting me. He let me go work out with my sister earlier today, and it's like he knows that that's what I need for myself in order to be the best wife and mom that I can be. So that's how I've been able to kind of pull myself out of any funk, is to be able just to step back and take care of my needs for a moment.
Right. And so having some kind of support system becomes critical. And for anybody that's watching this that doesn't have that, you need it. You don't need to do anything, but you really do
Yeah.
need to create a community force. And if you're just a neighbor, and somehow or other you've become the adopted caregiver, you still need to generate another support system outside of it, because one of the things that happens a lot of times with caregivers is we just we implode. Everything is here, and if I don't do this, the world will end. And that's it. I mean, all my right now, and so one of the things that we try to teach people and help people think about is to do the simplest thing, and that's exhale. Yeah. Just exhale. Let it go. Go outside and yodel to the Milky Way, or wherever it is. Give yourself permission. Grab a pillow, bite on it, scream into it. Don't suck it in, because I don't want you to have stress again. But to get it out, get the energy out. I remember, to get rid of that stress, it has to go somewhere. If you don't get it out, that toxicity, that negativity eats inside. And as the inside starts to rot, as the inside starts to burn up, then we become what? Less effective. So that's where caregiving, the airlines has the best simple example in the world, don't they? In a lie, and the unlikely event of a loss in cabin pressure, a buttercup will come out. Put it over your mouth and nose first, because we don't want to hear you scream anymore. No, they tell you to save yourself and then save somebody else. If you can't save you, you can't really save anybody. Isn't that the way? Isn't yeah? So what is an advice or a step that caregivers could do tomorrow that maybe they're not doing today? What would be something you would suggest that they do? And whether it's a mother of triplets who is a spoiled brat, number 8. So Kaya, just so you understand our dynamic, I'm the oldest of 10.
I'm gonna get it then.
I know who you are, little Missy. Okay, I know who you are.
To the fullest, I concur. Yes.
So, but why do I go? I'm glad you controlled me. So not. No, it's just like
uncontrollable.
So what would be a piece of advice? Something they could do. What are some steps that they could do starting tomorrow that they could do to help improve their own conditions, their own situations, their own stress?
Well, if you can get out even like one day a week, like 3 hours. Go do something that, other than grocery shopping, go do something that you want to do. Get someone to help. Just for like, what are you laughing about, Jennifer?
I'm laughing because I feel like you're talking to me. Because I think I've been there. My outings were the grocery
I know.
store.
Yes, they were.
So when you
You
say
need
that, I was
something
like,
better.
did it get hot in here or what?
Well, I'll tell you a stupid thing I did, and it was really stupid. So I was downstairs in the basement, a finished basement, the TV down there and everything. And I was really in a funk. And my husband came down and said, "What's wrong with you?" And I just blew up. I blew up. I said, "You don't understand. She's dying." And it was before she was dying, and I know I was hard on my husband through a lot of that time. And, but I was in my pajamas. I got in my car. I drove all the way to Dixon, which is like 13 miles from here. I was going to get on the interstate. I thought, what are you doing? And there's a gas station right before you get to the interstate. So I just turned around and came back home. But I thought, what am I doing? I was just so distraught at that point. And it wasn't fair to my husband, but he didn't understand. Unless you go through it, you can't understand, especially with twins, the closeness. He could see it. My kids could see it. But until you're living in the body with this other person that you've been together all your life. And I didn't know how I was going to cope after she was gone. And on the way back from the funeral, I said to my husband, I said, now what do I do? I felt lost. I felt lost. But I did a stupid thing in that,
So,
but it was a stress reliever, I guess, for me.
yeah, you have to get out. You have to get out into the world, a little more of a community, more association, some type of vent, somewhere that you can do something, whether it's walk on the beach. We don't have a beach. We could make a beach. Never mind. But some other people have had beaches around them. Other people have trees around them. Or go talk to the trees. Or talk to some, get in a group. But what's something, Jennifer, that you would tell people to do?
Find a person that you already have in your friends group that may not know the current situation, and call and say something to the effect of, "Hey, I just want to let you know where I'm at right now, and I want, if you're okay with it, could you just listen? I don't have people in my neighborhood that I can talk to about this,
Right.
and I just need to share."
Yeah.
And that's where you and Cheryl definitely came in for me. I mean, it started as a fangirl and turned into this beautiful friendship. And I've kind of adopted you guys, and I feel like you guys have adopted me in a way to where,
Don't
you
let
know,
her see it.
no, it's more like a parent role. No,
I know. It's great friends. It really is. It's
it
a
is.
relationship.
It is. And letting somebody else know, because at the beginning of my journey, I kept a lot of that a secret. And I don't really know why, other than, I see all these things that my friends are doing, and
Yeah.
none of them are sitting at home and dealing with your parents.
Right.
So I had a lot of old tapes going on. I'm 50 years old and living with my parents. How does that look to people? It doesn't really matter.
No.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because my goal was to care for them,
Right.
to keep them from being in a home,
Right.
as they suggested.
Yeah.
So it's kind of having that mind shift, but for me, it's really just being able to tell somebody.
Mhm.
So it's like one piece, okay, here, this is what I'm going through. You can tell me all about your life. I might live through your life, but I need to let you know what's going on with me.
Right. Yeah. And Kay, I'm guessing that you keep talking about your sister. So out of 8, you have probably a best sister, or you don't want to tell them
Is this live?
you don't want to tell them alive, do you?
Who's
So
on? Who's on
let
now?
me rephrase that question.
Oh,
You can't
well,
do that.
yes. So we say that we're twins, but we're 4 years apart. I've got a sister that's always been my best friend since we were little. She's 4 years older than I am, but um, I was a little sister that just followed her everywhere. So she just left actually. So we're always together. It's been super helpful. But our whole family is very, very close. So yeah, I do have that one sister.
Okay.
Sorry, the other two.
I'm sorry to the other 6 that now don't
Yeah,
expect
right.
a lot
My
of
brothers
Christmas
are all
presents this year, right? Oh, the chaos I create just by showing up. But
That's okay.
so
They all know I love them. They all know. They know.
yeah.
Right.
so George, how would you answer that question? Since you are the oldest of 10, you are also a part of a caregiving tribe.
Yeah.
How would you answer that question?
I think how I answer the question is, one is that we're truthfully, we are blessed to have a tribe.
Mm-hmm.
We literally are. I mean, I'm blessed that our mother is 97 and she's alive,
Mm-hmm.
and so I'm not yet ready for that reality on the other side. Absolutely not. I know I'll be a mess, but as the oldest of 10, and like some pods, we were always together.
Mm-hmm.
We were raised in South Dakota, and there what's a babysitter, and so
Helga.
yeah. When mom and dad went to the Philippines one time, we got someone out of the Stalag from Mania. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, I think she got kicked out of the Gestapo. But anyway, that way we had her. But we always were together. We never stayed in a hotel. We camped. We went somewhere, we camped. And the younger guys, they were moving sticks around or going getting this, the other, and everybody else had their jobs, and it ran like a well-oiled machine. So fast forward, after our dad died, now 35 years ago, I guess, I've been the patriarch for 30 some years. And what happened is that we had a meeting of just the brothers and sisters, a closed meeting, no spouses or girlfriends or boyfriends, just us. And we decided on the rules of engagement going forward with mom.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we're blessed. Our mom, at age 51, went back to college. At age 56, is a PhD RN. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of stock I come out of. She's won the Jefferson Award. She's in several Hall of Fames, sport Hall of Fames, for things she did for women, girls, sports, including in the 60s in South Dakota, she became the wrestling chairperson. And there was 2,000 kids registered in South Dakota, the largest group in the country of any state. And 2 of those were girls. This is in the 60s. This is well before title anything. All right. So mom, that's our mom. And so we were always community, or always together. And so fast forward to taking care. I'm at 74. So I'll be 75 here in November. Ooh. Yeah. Pretty cool. Anyway, so but I go down these strange alleys, don't I?
Yeah,
Anyway,
sure.
so at 75, what it is, we're all together. There's 10 of us, and we're still alive, all of us as a unit, 13 years apart for them. And we live in 8 different states, including Alaska, Florida, Hawaii, California, Washington, Illinois, South Carolina. But with Mom's Care as a group, as we call it, the Big Ten, is that at least one of us is with Mom every month for a couple 3 days in a month. Last month, Hawaii and well, shoot, Hawaii, Florida, and California all showed up. So we had kind of a mini reunion. You get 5 of us together. That's a pretty good deal.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Tim Kimmer and so South Dakota, the Black Hills are here. But we have a niece who is 24/7 boots on the ground. And for that caregiver 24/7, we also have a person come in that's her caregiver, a respite for Lord, you would go like the grocery store, Jennifer, as we know, or maybe escape to the gym or something like that. But we have that twice a week for her. And then we also have the hospice comes in, the hospice nurse comes in, CNAs can come in. So and then the drop-ins that, one of us kids will drop in during the week, maybe or two or whatever. And so there's that constant ongoing care group within ourselves. Now, Mom is pretty much bedridden. She gets up and goes and she go places and things, but she's not up running around or do anything else like that. But she can feed herself. She talks. She knows who you are. Those kinds of things, and so we're pretty excited about that. I mean, it really is. It's still a blessing from that standpoint. But when she was 88, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. And I went to all the appointments with Mom, and the doc goes, well, we don't normally do this, but the first 2 words on her chart was healthy 88-year-old, healthy, no medications, basically. And so that she went through the surgery, she went through radiation, she went through chemo, she went through all of that. And she's still motoring along. Like she's supposed to go, 5 years? Well, she's 97 now. And so, and no problems, no issues from any of that kind of thing. So, although sometimes she'll remember things, and then she'll go off into remembering things, and then things aren't really rememberable because they're now connections of stories. Mm-hmm. And imagination. But we're still there. Walks in and she'll have the Weisenheimer, like, oh, finally. And they're like, oh, you're here. Like, things like that. So those such of things. So yeah. But yeah, from caregiving standpoint, if the more people that can be involved in the family and it doesn't have to be biological family, caring family. It can be church, organizations, social groups, whatever, getting together to help rally around makes a difference, doesn't it? I think that's so. There's my kind of my short, long-winded George's answer. Oh my gosh. So love doesn't refill an empty cup, does it? You got to have somewhere or other. It's got to come from somewhere. So first off, you have to love yourself. Mm-hmm. But if you've drained everything, if you've drained it, how are we going to get that back? What can we do? What helped you guys reclaim some of that? After you started draining things out, what's helped you reclaim some of that?
I would say honestly, learning how taking my health in control, right? Taking my own health into my control, learning, educating myself, getting moving, because I've said this before I even started, down the metabolic health route, is that what I do today is going to affect how I am in my 80s, right? Mm-hmm. My dad's going to be 88. My mom just turned 79, and they're just running circles around me. And now that I'm learning about metabolic health, my dad's always done that. He never has eaten after 6. He's never had soda. He eats sardines like crazy. So I'm there's what you're part of your proof, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that just really taking care of yourself, learning about health, educating,
Mm-hmm.
growing your mind, moving your body is how I've poured into myself, because that's the passion that I've had for, and in return for, my family.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Jennifer, about you?
Absolutely. I think asking more questions as I learn about metabolic health and my health in particular as a menopausal woman, um, asking why, like the most basic question, and just be like that small child. And, but why? Okay, you explain that. Okay, so, but why is it that way? And why and why? When I'd hear that as a parent, I was like, okay, okay. But the thing that I missed was that they were pushing me to educate myself without me realizing at the time they were trying to guide me like a child. And you think about most people, yes, they ask why, and it gets repetitious, and oh my gosh, and it makes perfect sense to me now. So tell me why. Tell me why it's that way. Break it down. Okay, there's a book. Sure, I'll get the book. I'll watch a podcast or listen to a podcast. I'll watch a video. You know?
What about you? How do you feel back? How do you feel yourself back up?
How did I feel myself back up? Well, I went back to my job for one thing, and that helped me. But it was hard. Um, the first birthday after she died, the worst day ever. I was getting flowers from people in the office, get flowers delivered, and I just cried. I just sat and cried. I guess after going through all that, and then the loss of my husband 5 years after she passed, I don't know if I've just got this. I don't know. Sometimes I feel like, do I have the emotions I need? But there's times I just fall apart too. So, and I don't think I really got done grieving my sister, and then my husband passed. And it was just like he was in the hospital 22 days. The nurses did say to me right after he died, said, "You have the admiration of everyone on this floor." They said, "because you've been so strong." And I think probably they see people that scream and holler, and and I wasn't that person. I was trying to survive at that point because I didn't know where life was going to come after this was all over. And I knew I had a lot to do, but I knew I had to hold up. And I had 3 grown kids that were, very mourning also. So I guess I felt I had to be strong too for other people, which I really wouldn't have had to. But I don't know. This whole thing with her, and then my husband, and then I lost my parents. My parents outlived 2 kids. There was 3 of us. My mom died 5 years ago. My dad died 7 years ago. So, and had to go through that. I guess I don't want to say, sometimes I feel hardened. Just, no, I have to accept it. So I do, but I don't want to feel that way. It's a weird journey.
You do great. You do good. You're a great caregiver. You're a wonderful grandmother, great grandmother. You're a great friend. You're loyal. You care about everyone and everybody, and everybody recognizes you. And you're on the protocol because it keeps you going. It keeps you
It
smooth.
does.
Keeps you excited.
Gives me more energy.
Gives you more energy.
Oh,
She needs more energy, Gaydar.
Right.
Says the lady that won't let me mow the grass.
Yeah.
Well, by the way, she starts mowing. She doesn't ride on the lawnmower. She walks and pushes,
Well, I have one
and then she rides.
in the back. George said to me one day, he must have been watching me mow in the back. Boy, you're really intent on that, aren't you? I said, well, yes. That was my salvation after my husband died, though. It really was. It gave me an outlet that I couldn't have to worry about anything else. I was just so focused on that.
Mhm.
So, but there was a guy in the shop where I work. I work in a collision repair shop the other day, and he said, what's your name? And I told him, he said, you're Gary's wife. I said, yes. And I just started getting really emotional because he said, oh my God, he was such a great guy and blah, blah, blah. And I got tears in my eyes. I'll admit it. It still hurts. It still hurts.
Yep. And so for you, part of your out is the yard and the garden.
Yeah.
And it looks like it. Have you seen these pictures? Holy cannoli. She's got a poinsettia still
Yeah.
from 2 years ago.
God, it's getting so big too.
That's crazy.
It quit blooming. So I don't know if you didn't hear this story, but anyway, George got me this poinsettia 2 years ago, 2024 for Christmas. And it was, little like that. And of course, poinsettias, I never had any luck with them. Oh, the leaves start falling off and they look awful after a while. So I thought, what can I do with this? So I looked it up, said, cut it down to about that far, put it in a dark room, don't water it. So I did. And it was just sticks. Take it out in the spring, start watering. So when
in 25.
when it got nice out, I took it out on the deck and it gets sun, but not harsh sun all day. And that thing just kept growing and growing and growing. So I brought it in the fall when it got cold here. And it started blooming in March.
The red leaves.
Yeah, it was
Red
really
leaves
pretty.
and flowers and seeds.
So I thought, you know what? When it's nice enough to take it outside, I'll take it outside. And that thing has gotten tall. It's gotten wider. Although the red leaves have fallen off because they're basically a weed. That's what they're called. And so it's just getting bigger and bigger. So when I bring it in the fall, I'm anxious to see if it, starts blooming again.
So Jennifer, we'll wrap this up. Jennifer, what is it that you are doing now for yourself? And then Mom will get to you last. All right?
What am I doing for myself now?
Yes.
I am definitely taking the time for myself.
Good.
And even if that means I sit and watch maybe 30 minutes of something on Netflix with no outside noise, I know, can you believe it? I know
30 minutes?
still sometimes. Now, that's the shorter version. Do I watch 2-hour-long movies? I am guilty. But before I had so much noise that even if there was something sitting in front of me, I couldn't engage.
Right. Yeah.
I'm definitely forming a routine. It's hard to go from 24-hour, 7-day-a-week caregiving to not doing it.
Right.
And finding a routine for myself.
Right.
Because it's been so long. We're still ebbing and flowing, but we're flowing in the right direction.
Yeah.
Right.
So I have more time to think about what I want, what I need, and how I can, obtain both of those.
And you're doing great. You're looking super.
Thank you.
And
Great.
Kenya, what are you doing? What is something that you're doing now?
You know, I really dove into my business, which I absolutely love. It's just given me, it's fun. I've just been having a lot of fun. I've always been an entrepreneur, trying to get something to go, and really just learning about myself, I think, and learning that you could do hard things. And if it's worth it, it doesn't come easy. But to just stick to something, it's been a great learning experience to build a team and learn just how to be successful in my own eyes, you know. Just so that's the one thing that I've really done for myself is set the time apart, take time for myself, and to do something that I absolutely love, and that's to grow my business and to help people. So it's been great.
Great.
Super duper. And Jennifer, I know you're doing the same thing as well.
Yes, I am.
And you guys are doing great. We just like watching these two, don't we?
I feel like you've taken us under your wing.
Well, you know,
You know?
we kind of do. We kind of do that.
Absolutely.
So you guys, you guys are special. We want you to have a great week. Catch you next week. Have a great week. Be productive, be profitable, be positive, have fun, stay healthy, and just keep sharing your smiles. Keep sharing your love. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye.
See ya.